Hi, my name is Anne.
Hi, my name is Steph.
Welcome back to Journeys for Change. On this podcast, we discuss sustainability, sustainable development, and we also use our own experiences to discuss impact on local people and places.
On today's episode, we'll be discussing on how to become an agent for change.
And when we talk of change, as always, we base our conversations on the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and we are looking to inspire people who can claim positions of leadership based on these goals and transform their communities, their local places, and their people.
Yes, definitely this person, him or her, is in a position of leadership in their communities or in their place of work, but it's important to say that this person needs to learn to recognize the need or the urgency for this transformation, and also be propositive, come into their community with actions, a set of actions and suggestions to get into that transformation process and get it to the achievement of a certain goal, in this case sustainability.
So I think we should look at some of the qualities that someone needs to possess to actually lead or be an agent of change.
Yes, definitely. So would you think that passion and commitment should be one of those main qualities that a person should have?
Yeah, definitely. I think passion is big, definitely,
Yeah.
because it's something that probably you're not receiving any kind of financial benefits.
Definitely. Mhm.
It's something that you're driving for social change or for environmental change, and you want value to be seen by others, not necessarily to praise you,
Yeah.
but for the common good of everybody. So I think passion is important. Initiative. The other things like you mentioned commitment there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's there are some qualities that you need to actually become a change agent.
But Anne, what do you think will inspire an agent of change or a leader to inspire others? Because we're all human beings, we need inspiration. What do you think would be a great source of it?
Well, I think there's that sense of belonging, being part of something. When you're part of a community, you want your community to excel. You want other people to learn from what you have.
But being an agent of change is not always an easy task.
Mm-hmm.
It's not always easy to inspire others to transform themselves and get a step out of their comfort zone sometimes, and it's expected to have some rejection or some refusal from the community or from the group where you are participating.
Right.
To this transformation. What do you think it could be an ideal way of dealing with those kind of rejections?
Well, you've touched on something there, like if you're transforming a group of people, first they have to believe in you. First,
Definitely.
They need to respect you, believe in you, and also believe in what you're trying to push for, right? And one of the experiences, I've been in positions of leadership myself, and one of the things that you experience, it's not per se rejection, it's selling your idea to people. So I think we need to first train ourselves, train yourself and be proficient with the idea that you want to sell to the people. And another thing is doing by action. You don't just tell people let's do this, but if you start by action, they can learn from you and they can buy into what you believe in. So I think there's a lot of self-drive, to start the journey. Then others can join in as we move forward. But I think it's something that can be done, but you need to drive that bus yourself.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think another important aspect to mention here is that understand that this is not a one thing or one task moment or one task journey, if you want to take it that way. It's more about trying to improve yourself and learning every day of the good things that you have done or the things that didn't go that well. How can I evaluate myself as an agent for change and see, okay, tomorrow's another day, I will do it better and I can do it greater. Don't you think?
Yeah, I agree. And another thing, as a community, once you see something positive happening, some level of transformation, there's that inspiration that is passed on to other people. And that is where you're able, as a leader, to inspire others to join you in leading this process. Because I mean, it's not something you can do alone. You can't carry a whole community on your back, right?
Yeah.
So it's something that you need other people to join you and to work with you and to bring more people. So I think it's not just about telling people what to do, but showing them the way and bringing others so that the ripple effect can be felt, within the community.
So it's a matter of not only bringing the fish, but also teaching them how to fish.
Yes.
Okay, that's a good thing. And also, another aspect that we need to touch on is very important and vital on this process is how to make those transformations to remain in time, because sometimes we come across changes or processes where they are a complete success and they happen, but they don't have sustainability. They are not easy to maintain in time. So it's important that, as we mentioned before, people buy on your idea, they're committed to it, they believe on it, and then they are willing to replicate that culture or that new pattern into the future, right?
Yes, there's something there, because you need to keep learning. If you're the leader, you need to always be not necessarily ahead, but at least you need more knowledge than the people that you're leading, so that you can kind of lead the strategy, or at least point people in the right direction. Because most things die out because they become either too boring, or there's lack of inspiration. There's nothing to look forward to. So as a leader, if you want this program or initiative or activity to move forward, you need to keep advancing it. So you need to keep learning, you need to keep getting resources, build yourself, and with that, as much as the community is taking, you're not left empty. So it's quite important.
Okay, but how can we relate all these points that we've been discussing to the sustainability goals of the United Nations?
Well, the goals have very specific targets and milestones that you can use to help you pace yourself and also determine if what you're doing is actually advancing that particular goal. Let's say, for example, you've started a project, or you're an agent of change in the area of poverty reduction, for example. You've started an initiative in the community that is inspiring others to do something about the challenges they're facing and the conditions they're in. So if you look at the goals, there are targets that are well laid out, and they can help you actually determine. Of course, there are some that are governmental, regulatory, but as an individual, you can see if the milestones, or rather the achievements you're making within that activity or that project are pointing towards the targets that are set out in the goals. The reason I really like working with the goals is the way they're structured, because you're able to map every project. For example, if you start an initiative, you can directly map it to one or more of the goals, and this makes it easier to process or digest, or at least plan around it, so that you can say these are the tangible results of what I'm doing. So this is why I advocate actually to use the goals as your framework to follow when you're doing such initiatives.
So just to rephrase this and to see if I understand, because I'm learning as well. It's important to keep the UN sustainability goals as a framework to hold ourselves accountable for the change that we're producing in the community.
And I know there are a lot of people doing great things, in their communities, in the villages, in the local areas, without necessarily putting their focus on these goals.
Okay.
But then when a framework like the UN SDGs comes in handy is when you want to, for example, document this change and you want to contribute to a bigger impact. So for example, we can pull all projects within this area and see how each project has contributed.
So what are some of the localized actions that we can highlight that can be if you're an agent for change and you have to start from somewhere, what are that starter kit, if you want to call it that way, for a change agent?
You need to first establish what community means to you, because this is where you're going to start. Those are the people you'll start with. Then you appoint yourself, as an agent of change, because most of these things are initiatives, right? You take by yourself out of passion. So you volunteer yourself to lead others to solve a particular problem. So let's say these things are guided by the challenges within the community you're in. So you need to first understand your community, understand the challenges they have, whether these challenges can be solved, and if you have the capacity to actually bring in other stakeholders or, source the resources needed to guide this process towards a solution. And this is what it's all about. It's not about you finding the solution, it's about you bringing everybody together so that collectively you can find a solution to the challenge that you're having. So if you're asking me where to start or what the starter kit is, I would say your personal initiative and understanding your community. I feel that the value of being an agent of change is building communities. What do you think about that, the aspect of building a community from individual action?
I think it's valuable because you will always have something or someone to back you up. So you will never be alone, right? And I always think that you can achieve more when you work in community than working by yourself. And it makes challenges easier to tackle, to sort out, and to overcome, rather than you being alone, having your only one perspective. And sometimes you can not see what other person can suggest or see another way of resolving the puzzle. So I think it's valuable and super important.
Wow. Yeah. In my opinion, achieving or progressing the UN Sustainable Development Goals will rely a lot on community action and having people who are driving change within those communities. What do you think of that?
I think it's important, and I know we've been going around this topic for the whole episode, but to be honest, sometimes people are willing to hear or to receive a word of somebody who's an equal rather than an authority, because it might sound like an imposition. You know what I mean? And governments only can do so much. But sometimes they need that human factor that comes and bring it to your same level on your daily community, on your daily actions, and you can see that is one more of you.
Right.
It's part of your community, and you can understand that a person who is involved in the process only pursued the general well-being instead of a personal interest or an ulterior motive sometimes.
Yeah, so I think as individuals, our work is actually cut out, because sustainability, to be honest, I think it's an individual journey. Yes, of course, there's a lot of work corporates needs to do. There's a lot of work in regulation. There's a lot of, like financial investment and all this. But as an individual, if you can drive change where you are, imagine if everybody in the world did something different today.
Yes, everyone can be an agent of change. Is nothing that demands a lot of knowledge or something that you need to go and learn somewhere. It's something that you can actually start from your desk, from your house, from your work, and you can learn and look for information and all these resources from the UN and websites, and also listening to us.
Yeah, listen to us. I love this podcast because we find these topics where we don't tell you what to do, but we inspire you and let you know what's happening in the world, what you could possibly contribute, because sustainability is a job for us, or it's a collective action, and we believe that if everybody does their part, we have a long way to go, but we will achieve it.
Thank you for listening. See you in the next episode.